It goes. What is going on, Los Angeles Trojan fans? Coming at you live to recap this Trojans win over Colorado. I'm Ryan Dyer, joined by Coach Rowe, host of Salute to Troy podcast. Big win for our Trojans, 55-17. Lot to get into. Coach, what's up, man? How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. I guess we got a Saturday off, right? We get to. I'm looking for the Arkansas upset and the UW upset today.
There you go. Yeah, that would be that one. And Tech is we're rooting for Texas, but Texas over TCU would be nice as well, right?
I so much don't care about that one because I want the chaos. Like I don't want the TCU chaos, but I'm looking for the Oregon loss and the LSU loss.
Okay. Do you think? I mean, don't we want Oregon to be at peak if USC gets to play them the Pac-12 title? Like, won't that help our chances more?
I think if.
I mean, I know we don't want to root for them, but I feel like if they're a 5 or a 5 seed in that Pac-12 title and USC beats them, then USC is basically guaranteed a spot in the playoff.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think of it that way. I'm just thinking of it more of standings, but yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I get you. So
the whole new thing kind of throws me off a little bit, and then the CFP. So yeah, you are right about that one. That would be a good move if they're the higher they're ranked in 2 weeks when they play each other. That'd be a lot better. That's true.
Yeah, but I mean, yeah, you're from the BCS era, so it doesn't quite make a lot of sense. It still doesn't make sense. I mean, these are still humans making these decisions, and they're clearly not making the right ones, and there's bias and all that fun stuff. So
there's no bias. Come on, Ryan.
None. Zero bias. It'll work out. It'll figure itself out, hopefully. USC just got to keep winning. But last night, 55-17 over Colorado. What were your thoughts on that first quarter? 3-2 baseball score.
Oh, you talking about when the Rockies were playing the Dodgers and the Rockies were up on the Dodgers 3-2?
Exactly. Nolan Arenado hit a 3-1 pop at the 6th inning to put him up 3-2.
Yeah. So I mean, and it's kind of funny because we kind of mentioned that the other day in the in the Victory Bell selection show that Colorado showed up against UCLA, and they kind of did the same thing against USC. And I always had this theory that this is the pipeline for the whole Pac-12, right? So everybody who mostly plays from the Pac-12 comes from California, and normally their first choice is USC. So when USC plays these schools, these kids want to prove that they should have got an SC scholarship. I always think that. And there's been times when I played teams, like when we went and lost to Oregon and Eugene, there was a player's dad saying, y'all didn't even recruit my kid, and he had 2 sacks against you guys. You know what I mean? Like, so in the beginning of the games, a lot of these teams play above their head because the kids feel like they got slighted. But, I mean, at the end of the day, everything worked itself out. They scored 24 points in the second quarter. So, I mean, things got back to where they needed to be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's, it's funny. I was in the press box and everyone loves overreacting and freaking out. And a lot of people in the press were like, oh man, this quarter alone is going to drop USC in the rankings and they don't even deserve to play. They're going to get absolutely obliterated by UCLA. And I always am of the ilk of like, you know what, like, let's see where the end of the game is. Like if the end of the game is like this, then we can have that conversation. But through one quarter, let's let everyone get settled. And obviously that happened. And not only did USC win, but they covered the 34.5 point spread with that last touchdown from Barlow, which was fun to see Lincoln Riley go for that instead of just kneeling on the ball.
Yeah. And you also got to remember, like, athletes are creatures of habit, and they got thrown out of their habit by playing on a Friday night. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Normally on Friday night, they're just doing the walkthrough and they're just hanging out, chilling, getting ready for Saturday. And all of a sudden you change the whole week up on them and you put them in a Friday night game. You're like, oh, your body has to adjust a little bit. You're used to just at least being in a hotel or some type of walkthrough or meeting. You're not playing a game. So once that really kicks in, You saw what happened, 55-17. There was never a worry to me. I thought it was funny, though. I thought the score was really funny, though. And I text my brother. I was like, the Rockies are leading the Dodgers 3-2 right now. I thought that was really funny. But you could tell certain plays in the game, you could tell that SC was way better than Colorado, right? It was just like, come on, guys. It's calm down. No need to panic. If it's 3-2 in the fourth quarter, then it's panic. But first half, I've never seen anybody win a game in the first half.
Yeah, exactly. So they got it right. So let's talk about quickly. I want to talk about the defense too, because I thought overall they played well. Obviously, it's Colorado, which does not have a good offense, but still, you want to see what we saw. But we got to talk first about how costly of a win this was in losing Travis Dye, and maybe your just thoughts on that before I counter, because that's a huge loss going forward. You feel for the young man who's just such a good leader and human being, and obviously a good running back on the field. But what does this mean for the Trojans, going forward?
So me personally, I think that everything will be all right. I'm sorry that the kid had to go through that, and that's the part. They say it's a part of the game, but it's a part of the game that really sucks, right? And we knew he had a lot of miles on him, and he was the reliable Chevy, and sometimes the reliable Chevy has to go to the shop sometime, and it's unfortunate. But he was great for this team this year. But I think their backup, they don't lose any type of production, if you ask me. I think Austin Jones, and if you follow Salute to Troy, I've been a fan of Austin Jones since game one. So I think he's a stronger back. I think he hits the hole a little bit harder. Travis Dye is more patient in the hit. Austin Jones is a downhill hitter. So I think we're going to see a lot more power read, more pull schemes, more gap schemes out of the offense. Mm-hmm. And I think we'll be all right. I don't think there's any drop off in Austin Jones being the number one running back for SC.
Yeah, it's just looking from a football perspective, Alfred. I don't totally disagree either. I think, as great as Travis Dye's been and has how he sees that role as kind of the lead back, and what he does in pass pro obviously is very good as well. But Austin Jones is a very capable back. Absolutely. And Raleek Brown kind of had a coming out party last night when he was given the rock more, and you could totally see the speed and athleticism from Raleek. The biggest thing with him is almost slowing down a little bit, like just using his vision a little more, because he just tries to hit the hole so fast, and sometimes he just runs into people instead of letting it develop a little bit and using his vision to see the creases, which obviously will come with reps and come with maturity in the system. So I think they'll be okay. But as a I think where they lose the most of Travis Dye is in the locker room. You can tell how important he is from a leadership standpoint, what he means to his teammates, and just being in these press rooms after games, and he's kind of the sounding voice and the sounding board after all these games, and obviously all these wins for the most part, but he kind of is the one that stays level-headed and keeps these guys knowing that there's still work to be done. So obviously that'll still be his role. He's not going anywhere. And they said that, Caleb Williams said that after the game, Lincoln Riley said that after the game, multiple players said it, like, hey, we're devastated for Travis, but he's still a leader on this team, and now he's just going to have a little different role in what he does. So obviously he'll be the biggest cheerleader on that sidelines, and he'll be rooting on Austin Jones and Raleek Brown to really kind of carry the torch for them moving forward, I think.
I don't know. Gentry's been pretty pumped up on the sideline.
Gentry has.
They've been showing clips of Gentry. He's been pretty pumped on the sideline, so we'll see.
Yes. And Gentry should be back against UCLA next week. So he was close to going today. That'll be good. So I was interested, before we get to the defense, Jordan Addison played, but was not really a factor at all. My take, I want to hear your take. My take on it was they basically, Lincoln Riley said, and I wanted to ask him this, but it's one of those questions where I think it's a good question, but sometimes you fear the coach is just going to laugh at you for asking it because they would never admit it. My thought, though, was they basically were like, let's get Jordan out there just to basically get some tread back on the tires, just get his blood pumping, but not having that involved in the offense. Because it seemed like every route was a 30-yard stick, post, or dig route, basically just saying, just run 30 yards. If you're wide open, great. If not, we're going to throw it to someone else because we don't want to get you muddied up in those short intermediate routes where you have the chance of, re-injuring that injury. Did you see that at all, or am I crazy?
This is what I did see. I saw limited reps. It wasn't like he was. It was legit him getting in shape. I 100% agree with you because earlier in the season, like pre Utah, the offense was around Jordan Addison and Mario Williams, right? Post Utah, and now he's back. They're still putting out like Kyle Ford. You remember when we did the show with the Desai guys? I was big on Kyle Ford. Ford is playing his ass off right now, right? Like Kyle Ford, 16. I keep forgetting 16's name from Memphis.
Taj Washington.
Taj Washington. They're giving Taj Washington. They're putting the offense around. Shit, put the offense around Brendan Rice, right? They said we're playing Colorado. This is your old school. You do you, right? Brendan Rice. Yep. So their game plan around. I think this was more of a decoy because he wasn't 100%, and he was also limited on reps. At some points, he wasn't even on the field like he was in the past. You know what I mean? I think this is strategic by Lincoln Riley. They play that game. I also think Mario Williams is healthy, but they didn't want to risk it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like they're safe.
Totally.
Yeah, like next week is going to be a whole different team on that field. And everybody's going to be like, oh, okay. I mean, minus Travis Dye. I wish Travis Dye would have been healthy, but you're going to see 4 and 3 back on the field in a different offense. Like,
oh, yeah.
Which offense is worse to see? They both score a lot of points.
Right. Yeah, I know. 55 without him, 55 with them. Because here's the thing, Alfred, and you've been in locker rooms, but I mean, no coach would ever admit like you're holding a player back or reserving him. Like if you ask Lincoln Riley, he's like, no, he was a full go. We wanted him involved in the offense. But come on. I mean, they didn't need Jordan Addison to beat Colorado. Any smart person knows that. Lincoln Riley knows that. He was basically saying, go out there, get the blood flowing again, kind of get some comfort over your legs so you feel comfortable going into the UCLA game. But we don't need you for this one. We're not going to do anything silly like a bubble screen that you're going to get rolled up on by 3 linebackers. We're just going to kind of trot you out there, get you your one catch to feel loose and move on to the next week. That's the way I saw it. And I think that's smart. I mean, why risk anything when you can put up 55 without him? Yeah,
no doubt. And I think no coach would admit to the media, but the players knew.
Yeah.
So the best way to ask was Jordan Addison on a rep count? I would ask that question. That way they would have been like, oh, okay, yeah, he was on a rep count, which means like, all right, you just wanted him to get his legs up under him. I get that part. You know what I mean? But, I mean, it's fine. It's no big. They scored 55 points. It's okay. We'll live. They're getting ready for UCLA, which means they need to get ready for the rest of the season because Notre Dame has figured it out too. So they have to get ready for that weekend Thanksgiving. So
they could potentially in the season playing 3 top 15 schools, which like I said, if they went out, that puts them in the playoff. I think if you beat UCLA, if UCLA takes care of business tonight against Arizona, they'll finally get in the top 10. I think the committee will finally give them their due and they'll move from 12 to maybe 10. If Notre Dame, they're going to beat Navy today. If they win again next week, they're 20 right now. I think they'll move up to 15 or right around there. And obviously as long as Oregon wins, they'll remain in the top 6. So they potentially could play 3 top 15 schools back to back to back. 2 of them, or one of them being neutral site, one being on the road, one being at home. That gets them in, I think, for sure. Maybe I'm just hopeful though.
I mean, I'm still going to say this, and I know I do the Salute to Troy podcast. You don't want them to get in this year. You don't want them to get in this year because their ones are ready to play, right? Their ones are ready. It's just depth wise. They don't have the depth, and they'll develop the depth. So I'm not worried about that. You just not yet. Don't do it yet. It's kind of like we both have kids. It's like, all right, you're about to start walking, or when you do start walking, slow down when you run. Like you're not ready to run yet. Like it's gonna get there. Just not yet. If they get in, great. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm not gonna be upset if they get in, but if they don't, I prefer them not to get in than to get in. I don't want to see a 52-17 blowout in the playoff, and then they all of a sudden SC's a bunch of phonies. That's what I'm avoiding.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I was on our show too. We were talking about that with the UCLA side, and Jamal said the same thing. Like, look, I think this UCLA team is really good. I think they could maybe make noise, but it's probably better for them to just play in the Rose Bowl, which they haven't done in 30 years or whatever, and have a better shot at beating a Michigan or something as opposed to going in the playoff as a 4 seed and having to go up against Georgia and potentially getting smoked. So I get that sentiment for sure. we'll wrap up here in just a minute. So the defense overall, Tuli Pelotu is just an absolute beast. I predicted 3 sacks for him. He finished with two tackles for loss, strip sack, which resulted in a safety, or no, the safety was an intentional grounding, but a strip sack that resulted in a touchdown for the offense on the next possession. Obviously, Colorado, JT Strout, not a good offense. But overall, when you hold an offense to, under, I think 250 total yards, or 259 total yards, it's still college football. It's still, bright lights. I guess it was Friday, not Saturday, but you still have to lace them up and go in the trenches. And I thought the defense took care of business. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, no doubt. The defense do what they're supposed to do, right? They only gave up 3. They only gave up 3 in the first quarter, technically, right? They didn't give up any. They only gave up 3 in the first half, right? If I'm not mistaken, they only gave up 3 in the first half. The 2 other touchdowns, one of them was a touchdown on the second team, on the scrubs, which are learning right now is going to be the future. And the fact that they only gave up 7 to a starting offense, a starting FBF offense, that shows it's good signs of improvement. So they played well. They did what they were supposed to do, right? And that was my whole sign of them, like, are they ever going to do what they're supposed to do? Like, they didn't do what they were supposed to do against Cal. They should have beat Cal, but then that rivalry aspect always comes into play. So I give them a little pass on that one. But they did what they were supposed to do. They held them to 17. It was a blowout. I mean, good job, defense. There's not very much you can really get into. Like, there's still some schematic issues that I'm always going to deal with, right? But not my defense. But for the most part, they executed well, and they did what they're supposed to do against a team like this. There's no reason to panic. They should only move up in the bowls, right? In the polls, unless we, especially if we see this upset from Arkansas. So
yeah, no, go Razorbacks, go Razorbacks. Be huge.
Yeah, I was happy to see Raylan Goforth playing. I'm a big fan of Raylan Goforth and Gentry on the field together. Those two on the field together makes that defense work better than Shane Lee.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I love Raylan Goforth. Have I told you I used to work with his mom? One of my first jobs out of college, I sat right by his mom.
Really? No. I know my youngest brother played with his older brother at Poly, Randall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then Randall went to the dark side and played at UCLA.
He did.
And they have another brother, Ryan, that went to San Jose State. Yeah, it's a big football family for sure. And Raylan's probably actually the most talented of all of them as the youngest, which
I was happy to see Raylan Goforth playing. I'm happy he's healthy, and him and Gentry work better in Grinch's defense. Shane Lee doesn't work. You know what Shane Lee's like? And we just talked about I just talked about it the other day. You heard me talking about it on that space. Shane Lee's like Bobby Wagner and Raheem Morris's defense. It just doesn't fit. You know what I mean? I'm not taking any talent away from him, but it just doesn't fit with what they want to accomplish. Like, him running with running backs and with slots is not his style. He's a run stop bruiser, and it is what it is. But sometimes things just don't fit, and Shane Lee doesn't fit into this scheme. Goforth and Gentry on the field together there was a lot of production with those two on the field when they were playing. That's when we started to say, like, oh shit, maybe this defense is starting to work, And then they both got hurt, and then we saw, like, okay, so we see how you have to recruit towards it. We just need to keep them healthy, and so
and recruit that style of player.
Yeah,
so
recruit that style of player. Yeah, definitely, and that works. That's what that if that works for them, then for sure. If not, we're gonna have to go to the media, and I'm gonna have to start asking Alex Grinch a lot of questions.
There you go. You'll be there. Yeah, you will be there. But hopefully Gentry will be back for this UCLA game. We will have plenty of coverage all week. USC beats Colorado 55-17. Should move up in the polls, but they're sitting right where they want to be right now at 9-1 after a great night at the Coliseum last night. That is Coach Rowe, host of Salute to Troy. I'm Ryan Dowd, host of the LA Football Show.
Thanks, you got everyone. Big week, Ryan. Big week coming up. The week. This is the week. The bell comes back home. The bell comes back home, Jamal. The bell's coming home.
Let him know. Going to be painting it red. Painting that red again.
Cardinal.
Cardinal. And And yeah, make sure we're doing a fun Victory Bell show special. This will be episode 3 this week. So make sure to look out for that as we really get into this specific game. The last 2 episodes have been more on the history, more on this season so far between these 2 teams. And now we'll get into this week. And then on Saturday, we will all be at the Rose Bowl for a live final episode of our Victory Bell show. So make sure to check that out. But everyone take care. Enjoy your Saturday. Victory Saturday. Yep. Thanks, Coach, for jumping on with me.
See you guys.
Bye, Dom.